Oh, I'm cut off a little bit. There you go. Good morning, everyone. Jonathan J. Reinhardt here from Wargaming Recon, coming at you with another pandemic coffee break. Today is Tuesday, May 19th, 2020, and I am working from home. I'm lucky enough to be able to work from home, and just like when I'm at work, I'm taking a coffee break, and I'm spending my coffee break with you. So I have my decaf Earl Grey in my Tim Hortons mug that you can't see anymore because of my green screen, and I have cream and sugar in there. I hope you have your favorite beverage here to join with us. Please leave a comment here if you're watching live, and even if you're not, leave a comment because we read them and we can reply to them later on. So look forward to seeing who's here, whether it's live or later, and we have all sorts of stuff to talk about today. So, that's good tea. Let's begin by diving into something that came up yesterday, and I'm just pulling it up here so that I can see what the information is. So we had, here we go. We had some questions yesterday about attendees for the Let's Roll convention that was held this past Saturday, May 16, 2020, from 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And people were curious about what was actually happening, how many people showed up, and numbers and things like that. People love numbers, don't they? They like to know what's happening and what has gone on and all that kind of stuff. So I can tell you, as I believe I mentioned yesterday, the convention had something like 270 people roughly who signed up, and these were people who came to play games, who shopped, who were interested in all sorts of stuff, whether it was watching events, like I said, buying merch, or just hanging out and having a good time. So that was all stuff that people had done. And I had mentioned yesterday that I wasn't sure how many games actually sold out and how many did not. But I have the event listing here, so I can tell you, looking through it, I know of one that oversold, mainly because a bunch of us climbed in at the last minute. So that'll change numbers with the 8 p.m. slot for Cube of Death. Looks like it was only slotted for 3 players. We had 5, so that was really good. We did have a couple instances of Mars is a Lie, which it looks like we didn't get ticket score, or rather people didn't sign up for it. So a couple of those, and Explore Crest Spaceship as well, and also a session of Cube of Death. Otherwise, everything looks like it sold out except for one thing, which was the Battle Cry game that could really host like a gazillion people in it. Not literally a gazillion, but it could host a lot of people in Battle Cry. And so it had a good number, but it didn't sell out just because the sellout point was so high, is what it is. So for those of you who are interested, that's what we have there. And I'd like to move on to tell you about a cool Kickstarter that's happening right now that is run by Mr. Jeff Talanian of Hyperborea. The Astonishing Swords and Swordsmen of Hyperborea is the role-playing game that he does, and he's done really well with it. Jeff used to work with Gary Gygax. He worked on Castles of Gig, for anyone who is of interest to that. And I'm going to share it with you, so please give me a moment to open this up so you can see here he has this role-playing game Kickstarter that's going on, and actually he's met the goal already. When I looked this morning, he was really close, but he hadn't met it yet. 124 people backing. That's awesome. Still 27 days to go. And what this is you can back for dice. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, I have plenty of dice, I don't need a million dice, but these are really cool dice. And of course, they're intended for people who are into his Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea, but you can use these for anything, right? So you can back at a few different levels. They have this custom leather, I believe it's leather, pouch that has this cool logo on it that is for Hyperborea. The dice, the colors were chosen to really match the colors for Hyperborea. So they actually talk a little bit down here about the dice. They have 3 layers featuring a shiny band of icy blue nestled between 2 transparent outer layers. Represents the glacial ice of Hyperborea and its scarlet bloated sun of Helios. And then it talks, you can see here, the 20 face has the special logo on it. And then the pouch here, it is a leather pouch. It's a 4 by 6 inch pouch, handmade from Colombian tan vaqueta leather, cow leather, I believe. And it's soft and rich and has this cool logo on it as well. And it's not going to crack or become brittle with age. And then you can back it at different levels. So you can back over here on the right of the screen, you're going to see you can get just a D20. If you just want a D20, you can get a D20 there for $4 plus shipping. And not surprisingly, no one's backed at that because people want the full set. So for $16, you get the full 9 dice set. So you get a D4, you get 3 D6s, you get a D8, a D10, a D100, a D12, and a D20. Or you can do for double the set for 18. For 40, you can get the leather pouch. 50, you can get the pouch and 9 dice. Or if you want the whole kit and caboodle, you can go for $64. You get the double 18 dice set, so you get 2 of the 9 dice set and the leather pouch. It looks really cool, and it's just really, really nice. Jeff is a great guy. He's fantastic. He does amazing work with the swordsmen and sorcerers of Hyperborea. He's going to come on the podcast at some point. We've been working on it. He's just really, really busy. So that's something he's going to be doing. And then he has these stretch goals here. There's stickers, there's a t-shirt add-on, PDFs, and all that kind of stuff, depending on what they get to. And like I said, Jeff knows his stuff. There's not really any risks with this. He's done everything. And you can do add-ons, and he's using BackerKit for fulfillment. And as you know, might know, BackerKit, they take a percentage. We did not use anything for fulfillment or anything like this, project management. Well, we did our Wargaming Recon Kickstarter, probably because the money we wanted was so low, but also because we're just not big enough for that kind of thing. So you can tell that this is really going to be done. Oh, look at this. The PDF fulfillment's being done by Drive-Thru RPG. We're also using the same parent company, Wargame Vault, to do the fulfillment for our back catalog of audio episodes for people who backed our Kickstarter. You get shipping time estimates and things like that. So that's really cool as well that is there. So just all sorts of options for people and everything. And just nice that it's there. So I thought I would share all of that with you. And, it's weird because I'm probably unusual for gamers in that I don't have lots of dice. I think the most amount of dice I have are a gazillion little tiny white D6s that I got. And I don't even remember where I got them. But I got them for Word C, Access and Allies Word C. And these might have actually come with the starter sets. I bought cases of starter sets. Otherwise, I have a set of like role-playing dice, D4s and D6s or whatever. It's one of those Chessex small sets, and I don't remember where that went. I also have a small set of Chessex D6 that are ice cream colors, and I have this, which came in. I showed all of you the other day. This Dwarven Forge G20, which weighs more than a person. It's heavy. You could kill someone with this. Don't kill anyone with it, but you could. So I don't know. Hyper Warrior looks really cool. I'm tempted to back it for dice because there you go. I love dice. I don't have them, and I don't know why that is. But that's really neat. And before we go into the next thing I want to show you, I'm gonna dive on in to the comments and just share some of the comments here with all of you. So we have Dave here saying morning. Good morning, Dave. And David saying good morning from Virginia. Welcome. That's my home state. I am a Southern gentleman from Virginia. I was born on the naval base. Well, actually just off it in Portsmouth down there. Yeah. I probably don't sound like a Virginian, but I'm there. We have JP saying, "Darn it, I might buy that. You should back it. It's getting made. They met the goal, so why the heck not?" Uh, David, Mr. Benavides saying, "Plan on getting them. Please do." And let's see, we have Paul saying, "Woohoo, I finally made one again." Yes, here we are. I hope your little one allows you to get the space you need to tune in. And let's see, Court saying, "Sorry, late as usual. No need to apologize because these are saved and you can watch them at any time as you would like." And Paul saying, "Nah, I'm the same about not having dice, I presume." And saying, "Virginia makes me think of John Carter of Mars. Great film." Interesting you should say that. We did watch it not long ago for one of the whatchamacallit, Netflix party things, watch parties. So the people over at the Mythwits did that. And universally, they really, 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 really dislike it as a John Carter movie because of what Disney did to John Carter. But they are deep fans of the John Carter series, and I've never read the originals. So I like the movie, but they were a little less than enthused about it. But I mean, less than enthused about it as a John Carter movie, as just you know, one of those swords and sorcery films. They really enjoyed it. I have another Kickstarter I want to show you, and this one is over, but you can still back it actually. So I learned about this. Let's scroll up so you can see the top of it. This is for something called Hacklethorn Hollow. And I actually learned about this from a YouTube video I saw. So you might know Adam Savage, formerly of Mythbusters. And he used to work at Industrial Light and Magic as a model maker. He worked on the Star Wars prequels, and he's done all sorts of other prop making for stuff. But he has this really popular YouTube channel called Tested, Adam Savage's Tested, where he does a lot with the maker movement. So he's definitely a maker. He does all sorts of cool stuff with it. And so he went down to New Zealand for a few weeks and hung out at Weta Workshop. And while there, he met an individual who ended up creating this, which is really cool tabletop gaming terrain. So these were all sculpted and designed by this individual here. His name is Johnny Fraser Allen. He has been working at Weta Workshop for a gazillion years, and he's created these beautiful, absolutely beautiful modular terrain pieces. So you can still buy these. You can still back this Kickstarter. It's been successful. It fully funded in like 3.5 hours or something like that. So you can still get these. There's all sorts of levels, but I want to show you how beautiful these pieces are. And I think the inspiration for these actually came out of, he has a love of the movie Labyrinth, and he was making his own version of the Labyrinth and really large scale, sculpting everything and adding on and adding on. And I think he wanted to kind of turn it into a game. He was doing a lot of work for River Horse, who was doing the Labyrinth game. And I think he kind of fell in love with all of this and decided he wanted to do his own property. So as he sculpted stuff and went on for his own personal use, and he made his own things, I believe it kind of turned into Hacklethorn Hollow. And these are just absolutely gorgeous. You can get them painted or unpainted. If you know anything about me, this reminds me a lot of Dwarven Forge. And I would say get painted as much as possible. But they're absolutely gorgeous for what you get. The pricing is really good. Keep in mind, it's in New Zealand, so depending on where you are in the world, shipping might be a problem. But these are just really beautiful pieces here. And they are modular, so they can go just about anywhere on a table. Things open, I believe. There's internal areas and stuff. Look, you have a chieftain's hall with a little barracks here on the right. Ancient ruins. These would be really cool for all sorts of stuff out there. A wizarding district. Look at this. So you got a tower, a guild hall. There's a Kickstarter exclusive in there. Wizards Hut. Again, a tavern and a cottage. Old Town. You get just like all this kind of stuff. Look at this. You get the longhouse, the homestead. But really, these are just beautiful pieces. And then the video, which I'll find and I'll post a link to on our Wargaming Recon fan club group, is amazing because they really like dive in. And so Adam talks with this gentleman about these pieces and how they were made and how it goes. And you can see he has like it's like an 8-foot table, longer, I think, full of this, and just how absolutely beautiful these are. But the quality is really up there. He spent a lot of time sculpting these. You can tell there's a lot of talent. And this guy, he taught himself to sculpt by just coming in on his own time to Wetter when there was like a year or two when they didn't have work for him. And he came in there, he taught himself to sculpt using Labyrinth stuff as inspiration and just trying to do like versions of those. So that was just, it's really cool. And these things are just awesome. So right here, you can see, here are some pieces right here. So here's the tavern. You can see the different sides of it. The top floor, ground floor, there's a dungeon base and just what it looks like looking down into it. And just, it's so awesome. Here's some other pieces here. What is this? The cottage. I mean, that's beautiful. The guild hall. Now, unlike Dwarven Forge, I know I made a comparison before, but unlike Dwarven Forge, you don't build these. So you don't put modular components together. You could, in theory, I suppose, swap out. So you could take, like, say, this dungeon base, right, for the guild hall, and you could put, like, I don't know, like the ground floor, I guess, for the cottage, or you could put, like, a roof on somewhere. So you can kind of mix and match as you wanted. Here's, like, the tower. You could get multiples of them to make them taller and do crazy things with them. Whatever made you happy. But these are just absolutely beautiful pieces and just worth spending a little bit of time showing this to all of you. So these are just really, really cool. This Chieftain's Hall, look at this. It's hard. It's beautiful. And even if you like painted these yourself, whatever you did would be pretty cool. Ancient Palace Ruins, look at that. I love ruins. You could do so much with ruins. Stronghold ruins. I could spend the rest of the live stream here just showing this to you. But again, they're affordable for what you get. So keep that in mind. And the pricing, I believe, is in New Zealand dollars. So one of the lower end ones starts at 180 New Zealand dollars. And that gives you the longhouse and homestead unpainted. So you get the longhouse and homestead roofs. You get the dungeon base large. You get a ground floor large, a ground floor small, and any stretch goals that would have been there. So that's 180 New Zealand and whatever that is now, and your local currency. But you get the longhouse and homestead, and actually that's unpainted, but that's a really good price. So you can check that out. I'm going to plop the link to this. I didn't plop the link to the other one, but I'm plopping the link to this in the comments, and plop a link to the Hyperborea Kickstarter as well. So if anyone wants to back either of these, you can do so. They're really cool projects there to check out and to have. And then I kind of look cool. Maybe I need a Wargaming Recon branded mug. Maybe that's the next thing we got to work on. So let's see. We do have some comments here. David says, good looking terrain for use with the Frostgrave miniature rules. I can see that. These would be really good for that. You could do some homebrew stuff. You could also, of course, do some role-playing games with it. You could do, oh man, you could do all sorts of things. Mark says those are wicked cool, and I can't see pricing from my phone. The link's there, so you can go ahead and open that up, and that'll help. And let's see. Nathan says that's 109 freedom bucks. That's actually not bad at all for the two pieces when you think about it. It's really, really not bad. And just for comparison, Dwarven Forge, and I should pull it out, not today, maybe later this week and show you, but they have some like houses and stuff that they did for their city builder. And I think for just like one house, you're talking like 69 or 70 painted and not much less unpainted. So you could absolutely do, these are within the same market price right there. And it's something that would be there. Let's see. Paul says, is it bad terrain like this makes me want to craft it myself? Just started crafting terrain. My first crafting vid is just uploading. So Paul, when I've learned there are two types of people in the world. There are people who see things like this or see really nicely painted miniatures, and they look at them and they think, oh man, that's so cool. I can't wait to do that. I want to paint it myself. I want to build it myself. I want to do whatever. It inspires me. That's not me. And then there's people who look at it and think, oh my goodness, look how wonderful it is. Look how talented they are. Look how beautiful that is. It's absolutely awe-inspiring. I can never do that. I'm not even going to bother. That's me. I say, why bother? I'm not going to even before all this pandemic apathy has hit me, and I've been low. It's been hard. But even without that, it's just like, why bother? Because someone else has done it so well, and just, I'm not going to bother tackling it. And Paul says, I think Cool Mini or Not has rules for Zombicide and Hellthorn. It's funny that you mentioned this, because in another video I saw with Adam Savage, when he first met this individual and was working on the River Horse Labyrinth stuff, the individual had said that he was doing a lot of this for himself, and he specifically named Zombicide as a thing that he wanted to use it with, to play games with. So it's just really cool, because it's just, I don't know, it's just really neat. And so let's see, we have some other comments coming up here. David says currency rate, $1 US equals 164 New Zealand dollars. And I know, like, when I send money to Australia to pay for stuff, I can send less American there, and they happen to, it works out. Let's see. Paul says, it's all our hobby inspiration is a podcast episode. I have to avoid it because I end up making a mess. And let's see. Court says, me is a matter of cost versus time. That's true. I would rather spend the money and save up to have the money to spend as well. Because, like I said the other day, I realized I don't like painting miniatures. So if I have a bunch of miniatures, I want to save up and find someone and form a relationship with them and have them paint for me, because it just is not worth it for me. And also partly because a lot of the stuff that I have is just stuff for the show. And so if I need to play games or cover rules or that kind of stuff, and we want nice looking pictures, it's probably better for me to not spend the time painting it, because I'm working on other stuff. So it's just a matter of where the things go. And it looks like some of you would be interested in a Wargaming Recon mug. So that's good to know. So Mark says, I would totally buy a Wargaming Recon mug. I collect coffee mugs. And Court says, at least a mug will fit me, huh? Yeah. We go in larger size. So I wasn't intended to do this, but I'm going to let me pull up the Wargaming Recon store, because we have a store you can buy merch. I wasn't intending to talk about this right at this moment. I had something else I was going to talk about. But let me go and pull this up so I can show this for you, because, come on, it takes a moment. You can buy some merch that we have. And it's just taking a moment for me to get there, and then I'm going to throw it up on the screen so you can see it and not have to worry about sizing. Here we go. Okay, so we have this online storefront you can get to by going to wargamingrecon.bigcartel.com. Right now, we have two products up there. We have a men's / unisex t-shirt and a women's t-shirt. We go sizes small to 3XL. These are short sleeve t-shirts. It has our logo on it. It's printed onto the front of a Fruit of the Loom heavy cotton HD t-shirt. They're really soft, really nice. So no matter what size you need, you can go. Unfortunately, t-shirts are $15 all the way for sizes small to extra large. And the two larger sizes, they cost us a little bit more to get them made. So that's why we have to have that little extra pricing on there. So you can go ahead, you can add it to your cart, buy it, and get your whatever size stuff you need there. And then for the ladies in your life, I'm just going to go back. You can get women's sizing right here. And for whatever reason, women's t-shirts cost more to get made. I think it's because of the cut of them. So they are go small to 2XL, and the $19 all the way from small to XL, and 2XLs, again, cost even a little bit more. So it's $21, unfortunately. But these are printed onto the front of it. 100% ring spun cotton t-shirt. Again, really, really nice. My wife has one. She likes it. And we're working on getting kids t-shirts on here. So I actually have one that my eldest likes to wear. So we're working on getting that done for kids to wear. And I do want to get like mugs and things added on here. And I will say that some of this kind of stuff, um, we're actually thinking of uh, being able to get set up in advance because we are doing a Kickstarter for 2021 for the 2021 podcast season. And so we want to do more than just virtual rewards. We want to actually do some physical fulfillment, which would be some of our merch, I think, is what we're looking at. So that is a thing there. I could spend some more time in the comments, but I want to share something that um, might be of interest to people. So there's this thing going around on social media where you share, well, there's been a bunch of them, right? Where you share like your 10 albums that have impacted you or books or whatever. But there's one going around about video games. And so I thought I would take a moment to share 10 video games that have impacted me. Now, the social media thing is you're supposed to do it once per day and you tag someone. I'm not doing any of that nonsense. So what I am doing is I'm sharing it here. I'm going to share all 10. And the thing is, you don't give an explanation, but if time permits, or if any of you have questions about any of them, I will share why these have impacted me. So first up is Asteroids, which some of you who are old enough might remember. A great arcade game, showed up on early systems. I think it was on ColecoVision. It was on the Atari systems. Just a lot of fun. Super Mario Brothers for the Nintendo Entertainment System or Famicom, depending on where you were in the world. Doom 2, which I have to admit, I have only ever played on computer, really old like compact systems and IBM like those great tan boxes that existed. But I know it existed also on, I believe, PlayStation and some of those early systems as well, maybe Genesis. Nobunaga's Ambition 2. So this is one of those ones from Toei. Yeah, Toei. They have like this whole. They did a whole series of like feudal Japanese video games, and I happen to love Nobunaga's Ambition too. They have a whole series of Nobunaga's Ambition, and other ones, but this one was one that I adored, and I would play over and over and over and over again. PTO. Now I don't know how many of you are familiar with PTO, but PTO is they've actually done 3 of them, I think. Same company, Pacific Theater of Operations. It's a strategy game. You get to choose whether you're going to be the Japanese or the Americans, and you fight the Pacific War. Every aspect of it. A really cool game. A lot of fun. Old like 16-bit graphics. I used to play this on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, but it existed on a variety of things as well. Tecmo Super Bowl. One of my all-time favorite games. And I used to play Tecmo Bowl, and something about it just was lacking for me. But Tecmo Super Bowl was one for Super Nintendo. And if you've ever played it, you know how you would pick your plays. You would be a combination of like up, A, B, or whatever, and you'd have X, Y, and you'd have to do your combinations. And so, like, if you were playing with people, you don't want them to see what you're doing because it would be all up on the screen. So you'd hide it behind your back, and you have to like learn where they were and press them. Just it was a lot of fun there. On Nintendo 64, I was a Nintendo kid. Goldeneye, one of my favorite third-person shooters of all time. Not exactly accurate to the movie, but that's okay. It was a lot of fun. Nice paintball cheats that you could do for it, which would be really cool. SimCity 2000, again, another one of those that I've played on the computer, but also exists on console. So that's how I'm getting away with having it in here. And just was so much fun. Love SimCity 2000. Just so good. And one of those that I know wasn't always loved by the people who were fans of SimCity, but I loved the use of arcologies and just the isometric views and all sorts of stuff. Really awesome. Civilization 2, Sid Meier's Civilization 2, I think is one of the best 4X games ever made. And it's one that I wish could still play now. Like if I could run it on any of my machines, that's what I'd be playing. Instead of other stuff, I'd be playing that. The scenarios were great. There was so much fun with those. People would make some that you could do. The World War II scenario was amazing. There were cheats that kind of let you do extra functionality, but just the way to play was just so really fun and gave you a lot of depth and layer. And as much as the newer Civilization games, there's just something about them that I find is lacking that Civ 2 had. So Civ 2 is something that I go back to time and time and time again. I also have Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm talking the original one, not the one that's out now. I loved Star Wars Battlefront, and I was actually sad with Battlefront 2 that some of the maps and changes that they made, but Battlefront 2 added so much more functionality. It was so fun and something that I played for hours and hours and hours. I played on my PlayStation 2, and I was sad when my PS2 died that when I got it to play on my Xbox 360, it was out on Xbox, but 360 is backward compatible, that I start again because I had played so much time on my PS2 that I got like expert on all the categories. So I always had like the expert rifle and all that extra stuff, regen and everything. That was just really cool. The ability to fly, that space combat was amazing. Really, really, really well done. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Now, some of the newer Grand Theft Autos have better functionality, have better graphics, but the thing that I loved about Vice City was that it was set in the 80s, the music was on point, and it was just a fun game to play. I would often just drive around to listen to the music because I'm an 80s kid. I loved all that kind of stuff, and the ability to like steal helicopters and stuff to fly. The story was amazing, and it was beautifully done. And then I cap off with Wii Sports. So Wii Sports is so innovative, and the fact that it comes with the console is really quite interesting. That a lot of times people would think, oh, games that come with the console probably aren't the strongest game in that environment, because if they were, they'd be sold separately, right? Because they'd want to get the maximum amount of money. But in this case, Wii Sports perfectly allows people to very easily learn the new Wii ecosystem of movement-based stuff. So you can actually play sports, you can get some exercise. The fact that you can move, and it's almost like early-ish wearables kind of. So like you have the controllers and you're doing this stuff and you're getting up there and you're playing baseball or you're swinging your racket or doing some ping pong or flying, like all sorts of stuff, bowling. Just really amazing. And how it's done, all this kind of stuff was just really, really cool. So I know my list cheats a little bit, and that I have some like computer games on there that also have video game ports. And maybe I shouldn't have done that. And there were so many other games I'd love to have added on here. Blades of Glory, Pole Position, um, Space Invaders, Pong. I mean, I love all these old kind of games. Newer versions of some of this stuff as well. But these were ones that just kind of really hit it for me. And I think I might like to do one where I just talk about computer games. So I know this is gone a little long, but I do want to catch up with the chat here because I was looking at a different screen, and to just kind of catch up with all of you. Excuse me. So let's see. We have Nathan saying, I'm kit bashing a sci-fi shipping container building right now. That's awesome, because I was just before this, I was watching a video of Adam Savage kit bashing a giant killer robot for use with Weta Workshop's game Giant Killer Robots. That looks really cool. Let's see. Jamie says t-shirts are great. They are great. I can't wear our t-shirt though when I do this because there's green in the logo, and so the green with the green screen just doesn't work. And also, if I had a blue screen, still would have worked because there's blue in the logo. That's something I got to work on. Mark says, I think gamer size is 4XL. I think you're right. It's getting there, but not as many t-shirt manufacturers are doing that anyway. Let's see. Court says, during these times and after Roll20Con, take a look at Tabletop Simulator on Steam works on Windows, Apple, and Linux. Yes, it does. I have not downloaded it yet because my machine is old, and I want to make sure it lasts until my new one arrives. And from what I understand, it needs a lot of setup for the games, and I'm not sure. I think I'm better not running a game on it, but playing a game on it that someone else is running. Mark says, my kids always steal my Huzzah shirts and wear them as nightgowns. Yeah, so when I asked my wife if she thought our eldest would like a shirt from a show. And it's like the sizing might be a little odd. And she said, "Don't worry, she'll just wear it as like to bed or whatever." And she wears it around. She doesn't care. It's a little longer than her. But, she loves it. And then we got some lists of games that people like. So, we got a bunch here from Mark. Final Fantasy VII, Resident Evil, Red Dead Redemption 2. I love Red Dead Redemption. Zork from Rob. That's one I'm not familiar with. Ultimate Series. I haven't know those. F-15, Strike Eagle. Pong from Mark. Pong was great. Gunship by Microprose. That's a company you don't hear about much anymore. Microprose. My goodness. David says he's going to date himself. Love playing Missile Command and lost a lot of quarters for it. Yeah, Missile Command was so good. I loved playing it at home on Atari, but my mind was blown when I went and played it for the first time in an arcade, and it had the rollerball, and you'd go, and you'd be like, "Oh, you're gonna go here or there." There was definitely a learning curve for it. Defender and Joust from Rob. Yeah, so it's funny because a lot of these older kind of games pop up in a book that I absolutely love, and it is just like a love fest to 80s. Oh, here we go. Tecmo Bowl, Mark. And Court wants to know that old 4X space game. What was it named? I don't know what 4X space game you're talking about, but if anyone else does, please pass it on. We also got Blades of Shield popping up. Bushido Blade. Who else do we have? Mark's been playing Sims 4 lately. I loved the Sims. I was probably one of the few people who played Sims Online. Paul says Sims 2 is on my list. Jamie says, "Man, I love the video clip Advisors and the way they pick it in Civ 2. Yeah, that was so good. They just kind of go at each other as well, which is really, really funny there. And let's see. James says they ported the Baldur's Gate games to Nintendo Switch. I don't have a Switch. I need to get one. And he also says, have you tried GOG.com? Good Old Games has tons of old school games and the software to play them on newer computers. Yes, so I do have some from them. So my problem is I run Mac OS, and so a bunch of those you need Windows, and so that's been an issue there. But I do have, I can't remember the name of it. There's a spy game that I have where you build like your spy layer, and you go and it's very much like a graphical style of like Earthworm Jim and things like that. And I can't remember the name of it, but that's one that I have from them and I played that has been of interest. So there we have it. I will do another session thing on here talking about only computer games, because for me there is a distinct difference between video games and computer games. And I know now there's kind of a blending of the two, especially as you get to like VR and that kind of stuff. But like I grew up with, you went to the arcade and there were arcade games, and then like the whole home ports of them all was like amazing. And then like when computer games came, like just completely different styles of play, not having like the handle controllers, whereas now like you can use your handle controller for anything basically. So just it's amazing what exists out there. And I do have one other thing I actually want to show you in case you have not seen it. So hold on one sec while I pop that up on the screen, because this relates to yesterday. So we have up on here, gotta scroll down. I put up the video that YouTube took down where I chat with Jörg Bender from Things in the Basement about the upcoming Gettysburg Kickstarter. So it's right here. So just go to wargamingrecon.com, scroll down. Right now it's on the main page, and you can go and you can watch the video. And I want to let you know in advance that halfway-ish through, Jörg had some trouble where my audio was coming out of his speakers and then getting fed back in. And he was streaming, I think, on his phone, and he didn't have headphones or anything to use. So that was just a little bit of a problem. But otherwise, there we go. So anyway, I will be back tomorrow with another pandemic coffee break. And I want to remind you all, don't trust Karen on Facebook. No, Karen, you can't speak to my manager. I want to speak to your manager, because you are full of lies. Whether it's the pandemic or anything in life, listen to the experts, doctors, scientists, medical professionals. These are the people who know what they're talking about, not Karen on Facebook, because Karen is wrong. So sit down and be quiet, Karen. We don't want to hear from you. Otherwise, please be good to yourself and to others. Be kind. Remember, good enough is good. We will get through this. I promise you. This too shall pass. And until next time, Know that no matter how busy you are, no matter how much time you're thinking, whoa, I need to get myself a bunch more dice, you know that you have to, you need to keep on gaming. Thanks, everyone. Be well.